Welcome back. Joining me to thrash out the political week that was or will be. I guess we're previewing the week more than anything else. Assistant Minister to the Prime Minister Patrick Gorman and former Liberal MP Jason Falinski. I might start with you, Patrick. We've got this snap inquiry over Labor's proposed changes on CGT negative gearing. We've heard a lot from the PM. We're just taking it back to pre-2000 when things got out of control. One of the things you used to be able to do was to be able to have the profit you made from an investment to be averaged out over the years that you actually held the investment. So if that's the sort of principle you're going back to, are you open to this sort of change?
Well, the view we came to, Tom, was that the fairest way to do it was to go to taxing real gains with recognising the impact of inflation and what that does to people's investments. Of course, we've got this inquiry happening at the moment. We'll see what recommendations that inquiry puts forward. But the conclusion we've come to is that the package that's in the budget is the right package to have a more effective tax system for all Australians, including working Australians, and those who choose to invest, where you've got more incentive for people to make investments based on what is right for them rather than just because of some distortions in the tax system.
But I mean, when you say tax on real gains, when someone has a house for 5 years and maybe it goes up 30%, that house didn't go up 30% in the year they sold it. It went along at 5 or 6%. So isn't the fairest and most logical tax of a real gain averaging that gain out over the 5 years?
It's not the conclusion we've come to in terms of the package that we put forward.
But that's the logic. I know I get the conclusion, but that is the logic, isn't it? House prices don't do nothing for 4 years and go up 30%, do they?
We'll take into account inflation and the impact that that's had on people's gains over that period of time. That's the appropriate way for us to put forward a package to fix a tax system that was not working for too many Australians. You know, it was putting too much of the tax burden on working people, and it was meaning that those same working people were struggling to get into our housing system. I'm encouraged by what we're hearing anecdotally so far about people being able to go well at an auction and get into a home of their own. I want to see more of that. Our budget measures mean 75,000 more Australians will be able to get into a home of their own. That's a good thing.
Jason, is there any concern from a strategy point of view that the coalition, it's blanketly opposed to these changes, that the message for voters is the coalition says, oh, well, you know, everything about the housing market's pretty good?
No, the coalition says the opposite, Tom. Coalition has said for years, going back to when I was there, that there aren't enough houses getting built. Then you put on top of that the huge amount of migrants that came into this country after COVID, and you've got a recipe for what has been a housing crisis for the last 4 years. These taxes don't change any of that. And all I would say to you and Patrick is, if these are such a good idea for individuals, then why don't you apply them to industry super? Would it be because they're some of your largest donors?
On the cost of a house, Jason, so I did see the Productivity Commission basically said go harder on this, and the average red tape on a house is $200,000, which is staggering. So given that, does the coalition need to go, here are our policies, here's a dollar amount that comes off red tape? Not, oh, we'll do this, we'll scrap that. Couldn't it actually go to that and have a policy that would literally say, here's 50,000 off every new house?
Well, Tom, a question like that deserves this response. You need to have Andrew Bragg on your program more often, because that's exactly what he's been saying. He's been making the point that it is illegal for people to build cost-effective houses in Australia, and that has happened under this government since 2022. We have made it so bad that it's not funny. And to have people like Senator Ayres think it's funny by saying, oh, well, we don't believe in leaky verandas is just extraordinary. What they have done, what the Labor Party has done, what the Teals have done, what the Greens have done, has made affordable housing illegal in Australia.
Jason, I really am going to push you on this. Like, you're saying that somehow there's been some sort of a law change. The laws that we've put through the Parliament have been to build more social housing, laws that some of your friends, including Senator Bragg, opposed. They were the laws to establish the Housing Australia Future Fund. They're the sorts of laws that this government's put in place, in addition to, as you well know, freezing the building code so that we can have good stability for those building houses for their fellow Australians.
It's walking it back, I guess. And for the record, Andrew Bragg has been a regular. We haven't seen him the past couple of Fridays, but he's always welcome back.
Well, questions like that are just going to get you more of Andrew. House?
Well, we've gone through. We got to the strength of bathroom walls, Jason. Because if they're built strong enough, then
of course you did.
Well, but it's an interesting part of it. If they're built strong enough and you need to amend it to an older Australian for a handrail,
absolutely,
you don't have to knock the whole wall down. So actually, that
very
maybe
important
saves money for.
Yeah, because there's this thing called technological innovation, which if you're looking at something that's happening today and trying to forecast 20 years in the future, because government intervention has always made everything better, hasn't it, Tom?
All right. Well, I think a strong wall's a strong wall if you want to hold someone's weight up.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. No, very important. I'm glad you guys got to talk about that at length. It's a shame that no one will be able to afford the houses in which the strong walls are in, but, that's fine.
Well, my point was we've gone to the detail. Anyway, I can feel the viewers loving the strong wall talk.
They're searching for that transcript right now. They can't wait to read it.
Let me ask you this, though, Pat, because the Productivity Commission, when it's putting out a report right now, it's saying to Labor, go harder. You've got this National Productivity Commission fund and it says there should be a lot more money in it. Are you going to listen?
Oh, look, we've always said when it comes to housing that the measures that we've put out there was the start of our ambition, not the end. We want to see serious change when it comes to the sorts of opportunities that people have to have a secure roof over their head, whether that be in social and affordable housing or when it comes to having more Australians buying their own homes. We'll always treat the suggestions of the Productivity Commission with respect. Of course, they're talking about a program that our government started to incentivise the states and territories to build more homes. We'll continue to work with those strong partnerships we have with the states and territories to get more homes for more Australians built, including the really important work we're doing around first home buyers, making sure that we have new developments to help first home buyers get a home of their own.
So I'm going to push Pat on this because he gets to push me on, strong bathroom walls.
Why not?
So, Pat, how much money have you spent in that fund over the last 3 years?
Oh, Jason, as you would know,
$10 billion.
That's the incentive.
Let me just make it a thing. So $10 billion. And how many homes have you built?
No. Well, you're asking, if we're talking about the incentive funds for the states and territories, they are paid as they meet the various targets that the states
precisely
and territories
that I'm
are signed
talking
up
about
to. And if it comes to the investment that was made in the Housing Australia Future Fund, that was a $10 billion investment, and the returns on that fund then go and fund an ongoing build of social and affordable housing. That is part of a $47 billion package of policies that we have. We make no apology for having housing and home ownership as... I don't. It's very...
But it's not changing the price of housing that keeps going up.
All right, I'm jumping in. Jason, you've had your weekly go at my job. Let me ask you this. Polling for Coalition, it's somehow getting worse.
Yeah.
Is the Coalition trying to sort of be One Nation light, and is that an error?
Well, if we are trying to do that, which I don't think we are, Tom, but I might put you two are closer to it than I am. Well, I haven't observed that from afar.
Okay. No, I'm that's not leading. I'm just I'm genuinely interested in your view. You're sort of outside but inside. You know a little bit about this place, but you're watching from a distance. So you don't think they are at the moment?
As opposed to you two who are inside the submarine looking at us through Periscope. Look,
something like that.
No, I don't think that the Coalition is trying to do that. I think this is an incredibly interesting time. I suppose that's the word I would use to describe Australian politics. The worse that One Nation does in terms of some of their behaviour, like calling what happened at Bondi Beach a false flag event, and they seem to get more popular. I don't think that is reflecting the views of Australians. I think that One Nation's kind of become a proxy for how angry Australians are at the moment about a whole range of issues. But I don't see this lasting, to be honest. And my advice to my fellow Liberals would be to stay the course and to continue to develop policies that focus on people's welfare, prosperity, their hopes and opportunities for the future, and not to be distracted by what's going on in One Nation. Having said that, I think that
is the thing about that that's because we're 2 years out that's the biggest factor? Because polling's been really accurate on One Nation. If you look at Farah, you look at South Australia, but Victoria is probably the canary in the coal mine, isn't it, Jason? Like if we see, Labor kicked out, but One Nation maybe is the bigger party in a coalition in Victoria, would that sort of make you sit up and take notice?
Well, I am sitting up and taking notice, Tom. I'm not ignoring this, and I do think some of the stuff that One Nation has been saying on, for example, our immigration program has resonated with a lot of Australians. And the more people try to shut them down rather than to engage with them on that issue, the angrier Australians get. I don't think Victoria would be that. You're quite right, which is there may have been an element of people trying to send a signal both in Farah and in South Australia because they didn't think the result ultimately rested on their votes, but that won't be the case in Victoria. So that does add a dimension that may not have existed in those two previous elections. So we'll have to watch with interest.
Okay. There's a sense that Labor's is sitting up and taking notice now, Pat. That clearly there's been a bit of a shift in Labor, hasn't there? There was we'll be right, they're not coming after our vote, but a bit more concern now.
Oh, look, Tom, if you're asking about an election that's 2 years away, I've always had the view that you can't take any election for granted and you earn the vote of the Australian people at every election you contest. Now, I would note just on your earlier question about where the Liberal Party are going, which is, are they chasing One Nation or not? Don't take it from me, but Senator Hanson herself said on the day that the opposition leader gave his budget reply speech, Senator Hanson herself came out and said that she saw Angus Taylor stealing her policies on migration, stealing her policies on housing. And I would have thought if Angus Taylor can't even come up with his own policies, then I understand why some people will be asking, what is the point of the coalition?
Okay. Do you know what I really wonder, Pat? The wine bars, is the One Nation vote showing up yet in the Perth wine bar?
Yeah, he's pretty safe in the Perth wine bars. But you asked Pat about what the Labor Party is doing.
Jason.
And he answered a question about something which is patently untrue. So, Pat, is the Labor Party worried about what's happening to your vote with One Nation? Because at the moment there are more people leaving the Labor Party's column going to One Nation than the Liberal Party's column and going to One Nation.
I'm not aware of any former Labor Deputy Prime Ministers who've then gone
Patrick,
over
we're
to One
talking about
Nation,
voters
Jason.
in the community.
I'm not aware of that.
I know
are you
Tom
aware
lets
of
you
one?
get away
I'm aware of
with
one that happened in the
answering these
coalition.
questions,
I'm aware of one that happened in the coalition. If you've forgotten it,
Pick what I follow up, Jason, because then there's you, and it's like you never pivot.
No,
like you're pretending you're not a politician deep down
I've
now.
never heard of pivoting. What is this thing? But leaving that aside, yeah, sure, we were very sad. We were very sad to see Barnaby leave us. But, Patrick, aren't you worried? Aren't you worried about your voters moving?
All right.
From the Labor Party
I'm way over.
No one, Jason, no one owns a voter.
You're the host.
No one owns a voter.
No, but they used to be voting for you, but now they're
over.
voting for One Nation. No.
All right. Jason's interview with Patrick Gorman will continue in a week's time. Jason, Patrick, thank you. We'll talk
Thank you, Tom.
You can talk and I'll be here